Hello everyone, this is the CS Revelation. Welcome to a new video on Java. Today's video is going to be on decision structures. There are two structures that we're going to focus on, the if statements and the switch case statements. Now, when decisions are made in a computer program, they're simply the result of a computation in which the final result is either true or false, a Boolean value. Computer programs do not have intuition or gut feelings. They simply make thousands of yes or no like decisions at blinding speeds. So, definitely the computer programmer must set up these decisions within the algorithm of a computer program to achieve the desired results. Now, decision structures are also called selection statements, and there are two types. So we have the if statement and we have the switch case statement. We're going to start by looking at the if statement, and then in the second part of this video, we're going to be talking about the switch case statement. So let's get started. Now for the if statement, the structure is the following. It starts with this reserved keyword if, and then parentheses, we're going to have the control expression. And then we open the curly bracket and close the curly bracket, and in between we put the statements that will be executed if the control expression is true. So only if the control expression evaluates to true when these statements will be executed. So if false, it's just going to go around this if statement block and execute the rest of the lines of code. Okay, so let's take a look how it works. So it starts with the control expression, and if true, the code block or the statements will be executed. But if false, it will go around the code block and it will just skip it and execute the rest of the lines of code. Now let's just take a look at an example. Okay, so let's start, let's have an example that is using if statements. So for this, we're going to declare a scanner just so we can be able to input some values. So we're going to say scanner scan equals new scanner. Now, if you don't know how to use the scanner, I will leave the link in a description to see how we use the scanner. So I have created two videos to show you how to use the scanner. Okay, so we simply add the scanner, import the package for the scanner. Okay, now let's prompt the users for a value. So we're going to simply tell the users to type in some value. Okay, so we're going to have the prompt message saying enter a number. Okay, so we don't care what that number is, but we are just prompting them to input a number, create a variable of type integer. I'm going to call it number equals the value that comes through the scanner, which is a next integer. So we're prompting the users for an integer value. Okay, now we want to find out, suppose that we want to find out whatever the value that the users have typed in, we want to find out if that value is greater than 5, right? So we're going to say if my control expression here is, let's say number is greater than 5. So I want to find out if it's greater than 5. And if it is greater than 5, I would like to output a message saying the number is greater than 5, right? So I'm going to say greater than 5. Okay, so simply just output that message. And if the number is actually less than or equal to 5, we're not going to have anything displayed. So the only time that we're going to have an output is when the number is greater than 5. Means if the users type a value that satisfy this condition, then this body of the if statement is going to be executed. So this is the signature, and this is the body of the if statement. So the signature where you have the if keyword and the control expression in parentheses. The only time that this will be executed is if control expression, if control expression is equal to true. That is the only time that this will be executed. Okay, that's the only case. Now we're going to run this and see the outcome. Okay, so it is going to be prompting me for a number. I'm going to type a number that's going to make it execute the body of the if statement. So I'm going to type, let's say 9. 9 is greater. See, so 9 is greater than 5. That means this is true. And if that's true, this will be executed. And that's why I got this output. Now let's give it a number that is actually making this control expression false. So I'm going to give, let's say 3. And press the enter key. Notice that I got nothing displayed, and the program just built successfully. So the number that was typed is 3. So the question is 3 greater than 5. Is that true or false? So it is false. Therefore, this does not execute, and it will go around it and execute the rest of the lines of code if there are any. Okay. Now, that is with just a simple if statement. Let's suppose that we also want a message to be displayed in the other case, right? So if it's true, we're going to have this message. If false, we're going to have a different message displayed. And that's when you add the else part. So technically what we're saying here, if this is true, execute that. Otherwise, if this is false, just execute the else part. Okay, let's suppose that we want to type a message saying number is less than or equal to 5, right? So let's do that. Okay, so let's run this. Let's give it the number 5, and it says the number is less than or equal to 5, okay? Because that is false, right? So 5 is not greater than 5, so that means this is not going to be executed. We'll go around it, and therefore we will execute the else part, okay? Now, it means that it's only going to execute one side of this decision structure. It's either this or that. It's never going to execute both or none. It has to execute one of these two, right? Like we saw in the flow chart. It's either going to go around this or execute it. If it goes around it, it will execute this, okay? Now let's type another value that's going to make it execute the first part. So make it true. So we type 9 and I get greater than 5, which is the result of executing this. And if I give it, let's say 9, let's say 3, it's going to say false. Therefore, this will be outputted, and that's the result of this. Okay, so this is how you do the decision structure with two branches. Okay, now let's suppose that we actually want something a little more advanced than this. Say we want to find out, we want to output a message if the number is strictly greater than 5. And if the number is equal to 5, we want to say, output a message saying the number is equal to 5. Otherwise, we're going to output the number is strictly less, right? To do that, we're going to turn this into an if, else statement. Okay, so if the number is strictly greater than 5, we're going to output this. Else, find out if the number is actually equal to 5, right? So else means if this is false, find out if this condition is true. And if this condition is true, we're going to say the number is equal to 5, right? So, and otherwise means if none of those two conditions are true, we're going to output another message saying the number is strictly less than 5. Okay, I'm actually going to type less. Okay, so let's just run this. All right, so let's give a value that's going to make it output this message. It means it's going to only make this condition true. Okay, so the value that make that condition true is a value that is strictly greater than 5, for example, 6. And there you go. Now let's type a value that's going to make only this condition true and none of the other ones. The only value that's going to make that condition true is the number 5. And there you go, says the number is equal to 5. Now let's type a value that's going to make this false, therefore this will be executed, the otherwise part, the else part. And that's a number that is not greater than 5 and not equal to 5. So therefore it has to be less. So I'm going to put 4 and we get the message saying number is less than 5. Okay, so in decision structures, if else if statements, you can have as many else if statements. It's just based on the logic of the computer program that you're creating. Usually, by the way, this is an interesting point, is that artificial intelligence is mostly based on if, else if statements. So it's really decisions that are made every other time, and a process will be executed based on that decision. So it's really a good thing to know. So it motivates you to learn decision structures. Okay, so this was just a simple example and a simple overview of if statements. In the next part, in the next video, I'm going to show you how to use the switch case statement to solve similar problems and make decisions, okay? And we're going to see the difference as well between if statements and switch case statements, and where is one more favored over the other. Okay, so this is the end of this video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.